So today we can revise about a controlling process. Okay, so there are first we have to see what is controlling. You know, before we have to see what is controlling process, we have to see that what is the controlling. Controlling means that it is the last function, but we cannot say that it is the last because it is a continuous process. So controlling means that checking whether the things are going on smoothly or not. Okay, and making a comparison between the actual results and the standard results. Okay, so we have planned for getting a result, and after that we will check it how much we have achieved. So then we will find out what are the variations. Okay, so that is the work of controlling. So controlling is very much essential for improvement. See, like imagine that you are setting, like in 12th class, you are setting that you will score 90% mark. Okay, so you made a target that I will get a 90% mark. And first you have to see, like when you are studying in 11th class, you should understand how much is your mark at present and how much improvement is required. Like now you are getting 70% mark and you are trying to achieve 90% mark. Okay, so now my percentage is 70 and I have to increase to 90. So my target I set as 90. And after one exam is conducted, then you can understand how much. So you have made it set a target of 90. So that is the standard. Okay, that is the standard result, and you studied and you returned the exam first, and after that you got at the first exam you got 75%. Okay, so 75% you expected that you will be getting 90%, but you got only 75. So you have to make a comparison between these two. You know, so 90 was the target, 75 is the actual. Both are not equal. And how much difference is there? 15% of difference is there. Then you have to understand there is a variation or a deviation is there. Okay. So then we have to find out what is the reason for that. Why you have scored less marks. So you have to study like which subject you are getting less mark. Accountancy, how much mark you got. Economics, how much mark you got. Business, how much mark you got. And each subject you had expected. So in which subject you had more variation and what may be the reason. So sometimes you like in accountancy you got very less mark, and the problem is that you solved some problems but you could not get the final result. So that was there. Economics, some problems were there, the numericals and all are there, so that you could not complete. And business studies, you had some case study questions were there which you have not written properly and you lost mark there. So these kind of issues you will find out. Then you have to work on it. On that, you know. So if you in a numerical, if you are having problem, then you have to concentrate more on numericals and you do more practice on numericals. Okay, and imagine that if you are in accountancy, if you are unable to solve some problems, so such kind of problems you have to practice more. And in business studies, if you find that case studies are kind of creating issues, then you have to practice more about case studies. So in such a way, after the next exam, you come to know that you could score 85%. Okay. Now still like somewhat closer, but still you could not achieve the target. Yes or no? Again you have to find out in that, again we same process will be there. So how much variations are there and which are the subjects which are having more variation and what may be the reason behind the variation. And after that again you have to more concentrate on those type of things, and towards the final you will be able to achieve the 90% or how much you have expected. So if you are able to achieve 90, then we cannot say controlling is over, but it can be satisfactory. You know, or at least 88 or 89, this much if you are getting, we can say that it is okay. So that is the process of controlling. So there are different steps used in the controlling. First one is called setting performance standard. Okay, so setting performance standard means that you, as I told you, like you are setting 90 as the target, you know. So same way in an organization, they will decide that what is our capacity, how much we are able to produce. Based on that, they will set a target. How much is our achievement target? At present, how much we are producing and how much we can increase, and for that, how many things are required. Like imagine that I am getting 40% now, and I am expecting that I will score 95%. So it is it is not easy, So at present, my percentage is 40, and I am always failing in most of the subjects. Some are passing. Such situation is mine. So from that situation, if I am expecting to get a 90% or 95%, that it may not be achievable. So we have to understand what is my level, what is my capacity, what is my ability, and based on that we have to increase. Okay. Or if we have to achieve this much high target, what are the things required that we have to see? Like imagine that if a company is producing 200 output, okay, per day, 200 output per day if an organization is producing, a company is producing. And if that company is making that we will produce 1000 output, suddenly it is not possible because say like 200 output is there. So imagine that 10 employees are working, 2 machines are there. One machine capacity is 5 output maximum. And on one machine 5 people are working. Another one more machine is there. In that machine also 5 people are working. So total 10 output is manufactured. Or per person. So if there are 10 people, 100 output can be manufactured. Okay. So it depends on that. So how much? So if we have to make it into 1000, then that many number of machines has to be increased, that many number of employees has to be increased, that many number of raw materials has to be increased, and whether we have the capacity to do this is not, that we have to decide. So how much money we are having? So for purchasing one machine, how much money is required, and how many machines we can purchase, how many laborers we can get, how many raw materials we can increase. All these things we have to take into consideration. Then only we should decide what must be the target that we have to set. If at present I am getting 40%, and if I increase maximum, I may be able to get a 60 or 70. So that is the thing. And for that also you need to do lot amount of hard work. So such a way we have to decide the target. So first step, setting up of performance standard. And in that there are different types of standards are there. One is quantitative standards and secondly qualitative standards. So quantitative standard means depends upon the number. Okay, so how much product can be there. Okay, so that is the quantity of the product. So like if 10 output can be manufactured, 100 output can be manufactured, or how much or 10 output is sold, or 10,000 rupees increase in the sale will be there, or 10% increase in the sale. So all these are called as a quantitative aspects, so which we can measure. Do you understand? So that is called the quantity, increase in the quantity. That is called a quantitative standard. But whereas next one is the qualitative standard. So they are the standard which cannot be shown in the form of numbers. We cannot show it as just like number. 2% increase is there, or this one like that. We cannot say. Earlier the quality of the product was low. Now we can increase to medium or high. Okay, so that is the increase in the standard. We cannot exactly measure how much quality is there. So quality has to be increased. But we cannot exactly, like there are some examples given. Increasing the morale of the employees. Measuring the morale of employees is a standard of a qualitative nature. It cannot be measured directly. In order to measure the labor turnover rate, absenteeism rate, dispute rate, etc. have to be taken into consideration. In case of the rate of all the three is lower, it can be said that there has been an increase in the morale of the employees. So this depends on the behavior. Morale means the behavior, attitude of the employees. So if the increase is there, so we cannot understand that 10% increase in the morale is there, or 10% increase in the quality of the employees are there. So we cannot study like that. It's like in the classroom, we can say that the discipline. So imagine that if a class teacher is there and the class teacher is telling that we have to increase the discipline. So 10% increase in discipline is required, we cannot say. So how we cannot measure how much is the discipline of this person or how much is the discipline of that person, we cannot say. So, but we have to sit with that, like if in a classroom, if the children are not talking and if the children are not fighting each other, they are cooperating with the teachers, they are cooperating each other. So all these type of things are found, it means that there is a discipline in the class. So earlier they were always fighting, they were always talking and they were not following the rules. So and now they are increased, it means they are following it, it means that their discipline has been increased. Do you understand? So such a way only we can understand the qualitative standards. Okay. Quantitative standards we can measure in terms of numbers, like your marks. which can be measured. You know, you can say like in a classroom, we can say that, say imagine that if there is a 12th class, 2 sections are there, or imagine that your 3 categories are there, like commerce batch is there, PCM is there, BCB is there, 3 categories are there. So if you compare all these 3, you can measure that as an average how much mark is there. So you have to, we will take the total of all the students' mark percentage, and we take an average mark, and average mark of PCM and average mark of biology. Then if we compare, then we can say that who is scoring more marks. That is easily find out. But who is having more discipline, that we cannot exactly say. You know, it depends on the behavior. Also, we have to understand all this exactly in numerical terms. We cannot understand. So that are the different types of things. Okay. Then there are so many type of things like how to find out the standard, basis of standards are there. All these things you can go through it. Second step is the measuring the actual performance. So first step we made is that setting up of the standard. Now second one is to measure the actual performance. So at present, what is the performance level of the employees? That we have to understand. You know, so as I told you, like if you have set a target as 90% mark, and for measuring the actual performance, we have to conduct an exam, and in that exam, how much mark you are able to score. That is the actual performance. You know, so if an employee is there, if an organization is there, so we will have to like in this month or today, how much is the total production that they are making, how many products they are made today. So how much target we will fix a target. Earlier we fixed and kept. Now we will total count and see how much is the actual performance. Understand? Then next one is the comparison of actual with the standard. So how much actual results. So as I told you, like at present it is 70%, and the target that you have set is 90. So there is a difference between. First we have to understand the comparison is done. So we have to understand whether there is a deviation or not, whether there is a variation of these things or not. Okay. So if there is a variation, then we have to find it out. So there can be 2 types of variations. One is negative variation and one is positive variation. Okay. So imagine that we have set the target as 80. Okay. And we scored 90. Then it means that there is positive variation. Means that how much is the standard set and actually is more than the standard. Okay. If the actual performance is more than the standard, it means that it is a positive variation. Okay. Normally this may not take place. So normally how much we are achieving, how much we are expecting, more or less than that only we get. So, but in some cases it may be there. So some cases, yes, especially in case of the companies and all when they are producing. So if this is there, then we have to also find out the reason why there is a variation. Sometimes
is the market sales that is our standard for 2 minutes.
Okay, so there can be 2 types of deviation. One, if the positive deviation is that if we have achieving more than, if the actual performance is more than the standard. But sometimes the actual performance will be less than the standard. Okay, 80 we have set the target, but 70 only we perform. So it will shows that there is a negative deviation. So whatever may be the deviation, we have to find out the reason for that. Okay. So the next one is about analyzing the deviation. We have to find out why there is deviation. Okay, or what are the reasons behind the deviation. So that is the next step. So there may be different reasons. So first one is the standard being attained. So whether we are able to attain the target or not, that we have to check first. And if the deviation is acceptable, so sometimes we consider like deviation tolerance. There is something called a deviation tolerance. So that also you have to understand. Deviation tolerance limit. Okay. So every company has got a deviation tolerance limit. So like 5%, 10% like that. Deviation tolerance limit is set. So if the target is set like 100%, 100 is the target given. But if an employee is able to secure 98 or 97, so it shows that an employee is almost achieving the target and the deviation is very minute, very less. So in that we can say like 5 is given as a deviation tolerance limit. So if an employee, the target is 100 and if an employee is securing at least 95, then it is not, there is no any punishment or any kind of things are not required for that employee. Okay, it means that that deviation tolerance is permitted. Okay, or if it is even going positive, there is no problem, like 101 or 102 or up to 105. So 5 is the deviation tolerance limit given, means that 5 can be below or 5 can be above. Okay, which means some around it is to 95 to 105, it is okay. There is no any kind of issue. Do you understand? So the deviation, first we have to understand, is there deviation or not? Secondly, we will be able to understand whether the deviation is acceptable or not. So if it is a very less deviation, if there are minor changes, if there are small mistakes, then we should not take it into very much serious. And if we are going on that, then we may not be able to achieve anything. Okay, afterwards we will find more troubles. So we have to find out that. So, and if there is a positive deviation, then we have to check whether the standard is acceptable or not. The standard which we have set is right or not. If sometimes the standard we have set, we underestimated the percentage. You know, so as I told you, like if a student is scoring presently 40%, and I am telling that you score 60%, but actually he is able to score 90% maybe there. Okay, but he was very lazy because he was not studying. Actually, he is very much brilliant. He is capable, and he is able to score 80 or 90%. But he is not studying. That is why he is scoring 40%. So for such a person, he is scoring 80%. So we set the target as 60, but he may score 80 also. You know, so it may be possible. We cannot say that it depends. So that is why anything in the this is all things are related with the human beings. So we cannot say anything 100% guarantee. Also, we cannot say. So as a small boy is there who is always failing in mathematics, but we cannot say that he does not know mathematics. There may be some reasons. I was very good in mathematics up to 8th class, and in 8th class one teacher came. And I did not like that teacher, and I stopped studying mathematics. Okay, and in 1 year means the teacher which was teaching, I did not understand the method she was using. Till now there was a sir, and that sir was my friend, father's friend. So if I am not studying, he will complain to my father. So I had to study. No other way. If I am not doing homework, then next day he will meet my father and he will inform my father, and I will get nicely from my father. So I had to study. But this there was a lady, after in 8th class there was a lady teacher. So this teacher, my father do not know about this teacher. So there is no problem. If I don't study also, she is not going to complain. No problem. Isn't it? Not because of that, the way, so that earlier that sir was there, so he was teaching very nicely and I was able to understand, and I had a lot amount of interest in mathematics and I used to study. But when the new teacher came, then that teacher was teaching in a different method. I don't know whether others are able to understand or not, but I was not able to understand. So I stopped and I lost interest also. Okay. Then after that, when I went into 9th class, then another sir came, and again another teacher came, and she was teaching very nicely. But since I did not study anything in 8th class, I was unable to study in 9th class also. But I could score somewhat, I could improve my studies. But how much I was able to score earlier, that much I was not able to do. So there are some kind of things are there. So always means I was getting good marks in mathematics, I was getting good marks in physics, and I was getting all the science subjects, I was getting quite good marks, but my English mark was very much poor. And English also was okay, English was average, but my lowest mark was for history. Okay, and in history I was getting social studies. Social studies I used to get very low mark, and the teachers used to scold me a lot. Why are you not getting mark? Other teachers are happy with me because I am scoring at least 80-85% mark for all the subjects, and this one is some 40-45% only. Okay, then all the teachers and my teacher is telling, and I did not spend much time in studies. I used to go, I only spend a very less time in studies, and my teachers used to scold me that you are studying only this much time and you are scoring this much mark. And if you are studying more time, then how much mark you can score. But I know that if I study more time also, I will score only this much mark. You know. So that is why I don't spend much time. Not because of that. If I sit, I cannot sit for long time for studies. Okay, I need only a little bit time to study. If I sit, I will sit and study. I won't spend my study time simply. Some of my friends are there. When I was studying in the college, I already told you, I think one of my friend was there. He used to sit even all night up to 2 o'clock. He will sit and study and sleep 2 hours. Then again 4 o'clock he will get up and again study. Only 2 hours in a day he will sleep during the exam. And in the exam hall he will go and sleep. Is it no? Because all night he is studying there. Okay, whatever. You have to understand yourself. You don't need to blame on others. How do you know that he is still sleeping till 2 o'clock? He is sleeping till 2 o'clock. Okay. So these are there. So you have to. It is not necessarily that how much time you study, but how you study is more important. Is it no? So you are sitting, opening your book and sitting in front of the book and thinking about something else will not be beneficial. Is it no? So you have to spend. If you are sitting 1 hour for your studies, you should fully concentrate on your studies. Simply sitting in front of the book doesn't mean that you are studying. Is it no? So there are, and it depends on the different type. See, like different people are having different type of methods are there. Okay, so different people. I used to write and study. Means whatever things I study, I write, I note down, I make notes on the things whatever I study. Because I have short time memory loss. You know, I don't remember the things for a longer period. So I will make, when I am studying something, I make notes of that. Okay, and I prepare notes by myself for my own personal use. See, like business studies and all the things I am studying, I make a copy, and in that I will note down the main points and its explanation, all these things. So once if I make this note, after that I need not to read the entire book. I can only read this one, then I will remember. So such a way I used to study. So that method, I cannot suggest it to you because all may not be able to do that. So different people will have different ability. So you have to follow different type of methods. Which is more suitable for you, which is more comfortable. And the timing also. Like some people, they say that you have to get up in the morning and study. You know, some teachers will say that morning is the best time to study. I never study in the morning. I only study evening. Morning I cannot get up, and even if I get up I cannot study. So it depends on different people. Okay, I can sit up to 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock at night, no problem. But once I sleep, I will not get up. Okay, so this is the, see, like when some programs are there, or such like just before the Republic Day, we were here in the cold night, and we were completed my work at around 1 o'clock. All night we were working here. Okay, so making that this one and pasting that, especially for a stitch, we had to stitch it and set on this one, and it is very cold and we are unable to stitch, means wind is there, so it was not getting set, so it took a lot amount of time, and we were here and we had but we went and late. There is no any, I don't have any problem, but if I think that I will get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I have to do the job, it will not be possible. First of all, I will not get up at 4 o'clock, and even if I get up, means if I have to go somewhere emergency and all, I may get up. But even if I get up, I will be not in a good mood to do any job. Okay, so that depends on the different people. So we have to understand these things. And see, here we have studied that there are standards are there. So if the standard set is acceptable or not, enough you leave it. So standard is set, and if the standard is acceptable or not, and if the standard is not acceptable, we have to change the standard and revising the standard. So there is a deviation tolerance limit is there, and there are two methods are there, like a principle of a critical point control and a principle of exception. Okay, so these two methods are there that you can just go through it. And the last step of that is taking corrective action. Our fifth step, almost right. Okay, so we have analyzed the deviation. Then we found out what are the reasons why it is not functioning or why we are unable to achieve the target. Then next one is to taking corrective action. Okay, so making a change. So corrective action is required. Simply. So we have to see, like if you are studying and you found that you got the mark and you found that there are 20% difference in this one, and you found that different subjects are there, so you have to go through it, analyze that and find out what is the problem in that. So next last step is to taking the corrective action. Okay, so corrective action means that how you can get rid of this problem. Okay, so like imagine that if a production is there, if a company is manufacturing 100 output, and out of that is the target of a company is to produce 100 output, and actual output is only 80 or 75 or 70. So there is a deviation, and the deviation is not tolerable, and we have a standard is okay. So deviation is there, and there are different reasons. So there are 3 reasons for the deviation. One thing is that the company is not having sufficient amount of machines. Secondly, the machines which are already there is not good quality. Thirdly, the employees are not trained. So these 3 reasons we found. Then we have to find out, we have to take corrective action. Corrective action means that sufficient machines are not there. First problem is that. So we have to purchase one more machine, or we have to increase the amount of machine. One solution for that. Then already existing machines are also not working properly. So we have to repair that machines. We have to find out what are the problems of the machine and rectify that mistakes. And the employees are not trained. So we have to give training to the employees and motivate them, inspire them. So if these 3 activities are done, then there is a chance that it will be coming. So next time actual results will be coming to the equal to the standard. And if it is not, again, if it is not, after that again we will continue the same process. So it is kind of a circle. Okay. Once we set this one, then after that we will see whether the standard that we have set, again we analyze we will measure the actual results, and we compare the actual with the standard, and whether deviation is there or not. And if there is a deviation, we will find out the deviation. Then again we have to take corrective action. So such a way this process will continue, go on. So this is the process. So it is a process, it means that it will take place continuously. Okay. So that is about the corrective action. You understand?
Yes.
So here on the last page there is this one is given, one like a circle like it is given. Okay. So in that you can see like a setting performance standard, first one, then a measurement of actual performance, comparison of actual performance with the standard, analyzing deviation, taking corrective action. Again it will go to the first step. So that it is like going like a circle. Is it no? It means that this is a continuous process. Controlling is also a continuous process. Just by doing once all this process, we cannot stop it. Again we have to check the standard. Again we have to go to it, especially like your studies. So once you like you set the target as 80 and you performed 70, you found what are the mistakes there, and you checked it and you improved it, and next time you scored 80%, and okay, now everything is over. Okay, not like that. Yes or no? Next time again you score, and next time your mark again 80 was there, second time you will go down to 75 maybe or 70 maybe. Again you have to find out what is the reason. Then again you have to do this one. So this continuous process has to be there. It should go on continuously. Okay. 286. The next we have to study is about the capital structure and concerns and determinants. What is a capital structure? Capital structure refers to relative proportion of different sources of long-term finance. So it is the proportion of different long-term finance. Long-term sources of finances are there. So we have different sources are there. So in that we will decide that how much amount of different, how much portion of different things are necessary. You understand? So like imagine that if we totally require like 100 crore rupees as a capital. Okay. Out of this 100 crore rupees, how much rupees is to be taken as equity share capital, how much should be as a preference share capital, how much should be the borrowed capital, like a bank loans or other borrowings are there, or how much should be the retained profits, how much current liabilities can be there. So all these 5 portions are there. In that, how much proportion should be there. So that we will be deciding. Imagine that we decide that 70% of equity share capital and 20% of preference share capital, 5% of bank loans and 5% of retained earnings can be used. Okay, so that is the proportion. So the structure we create. Do you understand? So how much amount of these structures can be there? So how much? Mostly about equity share capital and debenture, or like means equity capital and borrowed capital. How much money should be there? Equity shares. How much should be there of? So like we have studied about this capital leverage and all. Isn't it? So financial leverage you have heard, no? So financial leverage means that we have to add more amount of borrowed funds into the capital structure, so that the profit of the equity shareholders will be increasing. Okay, it means that see, for example, if we are taking bank loan, see this money, the equity share capital profit earned for the equity share capital is taxable one. Okay, we have to pay tax for the profit which is distributed as dividend. But the money which we are giving for bank, so like if we have taken a bank loan and interest we have to pay, that money is no need to be added. That money first will be deducted. Then only the tax is calculated. Okay. So if the tax rate is high and if such kind of issues are there, then what we do is that we will insert more amount of this borrowed funds into the capital structure, so that much less tax only we need to pay. You know, see, like if 1 crore rupees if you have received as a total profit, then see, if we have like 40% of that is of borrowed capital, then for that 40% we need not to pay tax. So only for 60% we have to pay tax. So the tax amount will be less. So when that tax amount is reduced, then more balance money will be there. That will be more profit will be received to the equity shareholders. Per unit or profit per share will be more when we compare with the other one. Do you understand? Okay, if you did not understand, we'll discuss it tomorrow again.